Shalom. I pray the Father will give you wisdom about your body. I pray you will see that bringing stability is easy. The Deceiver wants you to believe you must accept the life of medication and surgery to numb your mind, to live a life under constant emotional and mechanical stress. Little changes over time are what gets us into trouble. Little changes will bring us back to stability. The devil is in the details. You must learn to move correctly, to lift up against the weight of your own body and not rest on your joints. In all these routines, in every position, we lift up instead of resting. We resist all that weighs us down, lengthening with each breath. We strengthen our weaknesses instead of spreading ourselves thin. The letter Beit means house, or two, separating light from darkness. Beit is the first letter in the Bible. It's part of the word Bereshit, which means in the beginning. The book Genesis in Hebrew is also called Bereshit. Beit is associated with the word baraka, which means blessing. Beit ha-mishkan is place of dwelling, and how the Hebrews referred to the tabernacle. Beit ha-mikdash is a place of holiness, refers to the temple. We are a type of dwelling place for the Most High, and it is what we do in our house when the world is not watching that defines you. Proverbs 28:13 says, "He who conceals his sins will not succeed, but he who confesses and abandons them will gain mercy." Proverbs 28:9 says, "If a person will not listen to Torah, even his prayer is an abomination." The Torah taught the Hebrews how to love Yahweh and their neighbors. When God dwelt among his people, there was a strict code of conduct. Feasts, Sabbaths, sacrifices, and cleansing rituals were all about physically and spiritually cleansing oneself to allow Yahweh's presence to remain. In Ezekiel 8-11, Yahweh's Shekinah, his divine presence, leaves the temple because of the nation's sin. Just so we need to cleanse our lives from impurities so we can hear Yahweh's voice and not drift after our own desires. Though we are a people in exile, we can still strive to follow as many of Yahweh's commands and instructions as we can. His mitzvot. The Pharisees were told by Yeshua that they were whitewashed sepulchres, but full of dead men bones on the inside. They washed the outside of their bowls, but had greed and wickedness on the inside. God desires us to wash both the outside and the inside of the cup. We must have a committed, but also obedient heart, faith with action, being strong physically and emotionally, spiritually. Blessed are all who hear the word of God and put it into practice. Luke 11:18. We need to become blind to the things of this world and focused inward, focused on heaven. Yoga unknowingly teaches you to rob motion from the spine to get farther into position. Yoga teaches letting go and opening your mind. Yahweh, however, instructs us to focus on His Word alone. We need to focus our eyes on Him and on a narrow path. We should always be testing, ever vigilant, just as Yahweh and Yeshua teach us to walk properly along the narrow path by following His Torah alone. These positions will teach you how to move correctly, training you to resist gravity. Yoga teaches you how to succumb to gravity. It is a wicked lie that will leave you broken spiritually and physically in the end, though the process may be slow, though it may be even helpful at the start. It does not teach you how to move properly. We cannot rob the temple to further ourselves. It rots our core. Our focus needs to be inward, in control of our spines. This is true range of motion, isolated at the hips and shoulders, not a false range of motion, not a false light. Beit is all about separating the light from the darkness, good from bad, and we should strive to understand what is right and what is wrong. have a natural C shape in your neck, natural thoracic curve in your mid-back, natural lordosis in your lower back. We're not distorting the curves, we're not flattening them out, we're only lengthening and supporting them. When you go face down, you are surrendering to Yahweh, and there is peace in surrender. This is not a time for questioning the twists and turns of your life, but to acknowledge His control over all things. You need to have one leg in this world and another rooted in the spiritual. You need to be both strong physically and spiritually. In all of these positions, we're striving for 7 deep decompression breaths. 7 is a holy number. You don't have to reach 7, but I want you to try to at least get one deep breath in each position, striving to lengthen just a bit more in every position. The Shema was given to the Israelites by Moses in Deuteronomy 6. Shema in Hebrew means to hear, but also obey and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Adonai our God, Adonai is one. You are to love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your resources. These words which I am ordering you today are to be on your heart, and you are to teach them carefully to your children. You are to talk about them when you sit at home, when you are traveling on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them on your hand as a sign. Put them on the front of your headband around your forehead. Write them on the door frames of your house and on your gates. Surely this includes when we strengthen our bodies as well, when we're working on bringing stability, not just to get ourselves out of pain, but to make ourselves more useful to the kingdom. Look forward to the land of promise, when you will live under the kingship of Yeshua Messiah. Though we are in exile, we need to remember that we are still citizens of Israel, that we are grafted in, a holy nation of priests, that we are set apart, that we live according to Yahweh's mitzvot, His instructions, to the best of our understanding. Each day, remember to speak the Shema. Remember, Beit means house, and living righteously, and this starts at home. Perhaps put a mezuzah on your door to remind you to live right, to remind you of the Shema. Obedience will increase your desire for Yahweh, and also in time your wisdom. You must obey before you can understand. Because today, the deceiver would have us think that Yahweh's instructions for living are foolishness, that righteousness is in fact morally wrong. And that's becoming more and more true when morality becomes subjective and God no longer decides what is right. Man does. Psalm 101, David speaks. He says, I will run my life with a sincere heart inside my own house. No deceitful person can live in my house. No liar can be my advisor. Remember these things. Make your house strong. It is your foundation. Without a strong foundation, the rest of the structure crumbles, just as with your spine. We are training our hips to be a strong foundation so the rest of our body can be supported. We are teaching our spine to be strong and lengthened so our shoulders and our hips are held where they should be. Our feet need to be strong. Our hands need to be strong. We're working the body as one, as a whole. I hope you've been blessed. I hope you are learning more about your body and how to strengthen it, and how easy it truly is. Although we are putting strain on our bodies, I hope you can feel the stress melt away as you near completion. Not only are we strengthening our spines, but you're breaking up those restrictions that have been there for so long, those strongholds that we're told to conquer. We need to storm the gates of hell. Thank you for spending this time with me. Shalom.